recording is that as we dedicate the show.
This is a section of our barrel. So here I am at the Reno Air Races 2021. The show's been pretty interesting, seeing everything from the civilian aircrafts to some of the military ones, from the old school jets, or the old school aircrafts, to some of the new ones. Today we're going to take a look and talk to a few people and see what we can find out. If we can, get your name, what company you're with?
Michael Burton. It's Sierra Aero and Motive Aero.
Okay. Powered by Rotax, are you represented for Rotax too, or is that just...
We do sales, parts, service, and training for Rotax. We've got a service class coming up next week in Petaluma.
Okay. Are you a fixed pilot? Are you a helicopter pilot? Do you only do gyros?
I've been doing gyros for about 20 years, but I started out in fixed wing. I've been an instructor since 1999.
I know, the concept is very interesting. I know a little bit about gyros, but not too much. So having the propeller on the top obviously is going to act like the wing on an aircraft, right? And then the back is actually going to just push it through the air.
We call it a rotor blade. You can see it can swing up and down.
Right.
That's how it equalizes lift across the rotor disc. It was invented by Juan de la Cierva. Wow, long time ago, right?
Yeah, like in the, 50s, 60s?
Way earlier than that.
Before that, really?
Yeah, yep. A lot of the records were set in the 20s and 30s, so right. It's an old technology. It's all rotorcraft use part of his technology that he created, which is how it equalizes lift across the rotor disc. But yeah, this is our wing, and it's just a rotating wing. It was invented because Sierva's friends had some friends that died in stall spin accidents, and he said, I'm going to make an aircraft that can't do that.
So you can't stall this thing out, really?
Yeah, it can't stall.
Really?
Right.
I know, with one of these, you can't take off vertically, right? You have to...
Yep, you have to have some forward motion, and, the early autogyros didn't even have control in their rotor blades. They still had little stub wings for pitch and roll.
Right.
They had an elevator and ailerons on them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it was quite a bit later, after Pitcairn had his gyros here in the U.S., he licensed the technology from Sierra. And then after that, that's when Sierra came up with the rotor control and how to make it work.
Wow, very, very cool. Right now we are currently working on Powerplant. Could you go do the Powerplant for me?
Sure, let me grab a screwdriver and we'll open it up.
Oh, that'd be great, thank you.
Motor from Rotax has the 915 in it.
I see that you went with carbon fiber for...
Almost everything.
Yeah, okay. Just weight reduction, right?
Yeah. Weight reduction is critical in rotorcraft.
Right.
But it's twice as effective to lose weight in a rotorcraft as it is in a fixed wing.
That makes sense.
It makes every time you make it heavier, it makes the rotor spin faster. And drag is square of the airspeed. So if you double the airspeed, you quadruple the drag.
Right.
And so when you spin the rotor faster, it makes more drag. And the gyro is one of the draggiest aircraft that can fly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if you make it heavier, you make it have a lot more drag.
Right.
All right, let me get the other side opened up. Yeah, a lot of carbon fiber.
So what is the weight, the wet weight on this thing?
The max gross weight is 1,234 pounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty easy to remember.
Yeah.
And it weighs about 700.
Okay.
You'll see the carbon fiber on this is super thin, but just really nice.
Just as a cover, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the carbon fiber on this is structural, but this is. You mean hold? No, I got it. So this is. I mean, look how thin they do.
Wow.
How nice a job they do. This is just they do all their composites real nice like this.
Right.
Everything you look at, it's just premium, almost perfect.
Right.
So here, this is it. The 915. Fuel injected. Oil, air, and water cooled.
So it is water cooled.
Yep, has water cooled heads.
Okay.
And then it's got air cooled on the cylinders here. And then it has oil spray that sprays the bottom of the piston. And then these are 2 oil coolers. This is the intercooler up here. It has to have the intercooler as well to drag some of the heat out of the induction system.
Okay.
And then on the bottom is the water radiator and even a fan like your car has.
Right.
Which will turn on automatically if it gets too hot.
That's interesting. I know a lot of aircrafts, they typically are air cooled. You want liquid cooled because it's not getting as much air, right? Because it's in the aft part of the aircraft as opposed to the front.
That's part of it. Part of it also is it's turbocharged.
Oh, okay.
Turbocharged air-cooled engines have a problem, and that is you can't pull the throttle back quickly.
Right.
Because you'll overcool the pistons or the cylinders.
A thermal shock.
Yeah, exactly. And by having it water cooled, you don't have that problem.
I see. Wow, that's clever.
Yeah. So it's really a nice way of doing it. It's got a computer that controls everything. It's actually 2 computers that control everything. 2 injectors for each cylinder, so you can see 2 injector wires here. 2 spark plugs for each cylinder. If you lose one computer, it does not shut down one spark plug.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, each computer can run all of the injectors and all of the spark plugs.
Oh, wow.
So on a normal, old-fashioned, I'll say, engine, if you shut down one mag, it has a big drop in RPM and in power output. If you shut down one computer on this, you'll actually get a power increase, because what will happen is it will go from lean of peak mode to rich mode or power mode,
right? And
it will have a boost in power. It will burn a lot more fuel.
It stays in rich mode just because it's easier to. It'll just keep it
safer when the computers don't know everything.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you lose some sensors when you turn off one computer.
Okay, that's clever. And it's better to be rich than it is to be lean.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you don't know everything, then you can't be lean.
Right. Very, very true.
Yeah. So and it has 2 alternators on it. So if you lose one, it switches over automatically to the other one. So it has really nice redundancy and backups on it.
That's really good. Have you ever lost any electronics flying this thing, or?
The electronics have been no problem. They had some fuel pump issues early on.
Okay.
And so there were some issues with that.
Engine-driven fuel pump?
It does not have an engine-driven fuel pump.
So electric?
They're both electric.
Okay.
So it's got dual electric pumps, one that's backup, obviously.
Right.
And you can run them both at the same time because they run in series, they run in parallel, not in series.
Okay.
Series, not in parallel, that's right. So the one pump pushes fuel into the other pump.
Right.
And so if you lose one pump, it still flows the same amount.
Right.
And it has bypasses.
On yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Wow, very cool. Yeah, this thing's actually really, really nice.
And it's a really small package. The reason that you want to have a smaller cylinder like these and run at a higher RPM, you can run the same amount of horsepower with a smaller motor. Small cylinder, then they can be pushed together a bit more. With the big cylinders like you would have on the older engines, they have a really large piston. That means they have to be further apart. You have to have a longer crankshaft. It has to produce more torque, so you have to have a fatter crankshaft So it's a much heavier motor that way to produce the same amount of power. This one has this as the extra part. This is the gearbox for the motor. So you get this much extra weight from the gearbox, but you lose far more than that in the weight from the size of the pistons and the size of the crankshaft.
Okay.
And so it makes them a lot lighter. Also makes them a smaller package, so you can fit them in a tighter area like this.
Oh,
and then also having them, like you said, water-cooled heads. Now you don't have to have quite as much airflow through this area. You can package it up really tightly.
Yeah, and it's packaged up there really nice.
Yeah.
So the reduction gearbox, I mean, is that variable gears? No, it's just fixed, right? So,
So
engine spin at a certain thing is going to reduce it to the propeller.
Yeah, so here's the same. It's like a standard governor for the prop right here. So you have a hollow shaft here that runs the oil out to here. The pressure of the oil is what turns the blades. And this is basically just a pressure governor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So if you want to find out more about your aircraft, where can we go?
We would go to Petaluma, California, or they can go to our website, sierra.aero.
Sierra.aero?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that gets all the data's out there on sierra.aero, a bunch of pictures, videos. We have a YouTube channel as well.
What's the name of the YouTube channel?
Sierra.aero.
Okay, awesome. Hey, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
I really do appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
This is the supercharger. This is the impeller, and the air gets injected in through here. There's a carburetor. It's actually an air mixture box.
Right.
Because the fuel actually comes in over here, and then there's a fuel feed valve that opens and closes with vacuum pressure, and it injects the fuel, and the fuel will come out these little holes right there. So then the air and the fuel is compressed here. It goes in the intake pipe. Each hole, there's 9 holes in the collector case. So there's a front or rear and a front cylinder on each one hole, and then it's got a window up here. Rear cylinder, front roll, front and rear piston, spark plug, So anyway, then this is distributor, distributes the spark to it. And that's a 2-to-1 gear reduction for the prop to slow it down half of the crankshaft speed. And then this actually has a 2-speed blower. If you look high and low, if you look right in there, there's a clutch in there. There's one there, one there. The one's high and one's low. The low, I believe, on a B is like 7.3 to 1. And the high is like 9 to 1. So, like, for takeoff, this would be like 27, 50, 20 RPM is all. So, just for the easy math, say it went 3,000. The impeller in low would be turning 21,000 RPM, and then in high it would be almost 30,000. And then, you know, of course, that's for when you get higher altitude with less air, then you just shift the high blower and compresses more air.
What year is this engine?
This was probably built in maybe the 40s, 42, something like that, 45. This is the same engine as that one there. And that one's going to go in a P47.
I was curious because, like, I know the superchargers, it kind of has the same issues as a normally aspirated, right? As you go up in altitude, I mean, you're going to start losing performance.
Right.
I mean, but you're going to get some ground boost when you're down on the ground a little bit, right? So you'll be able to get a little bit more than sea level pressure and whatnot.
Yeah. Like at takeoff speed, this probably puts out about 48 inches of maximum pressure.
Wow, okay. That's very cool. I see for the cutaway, you have to take off the piston rings, right, just to make it.
Yeah, otherwise it would catch it.
Yeah, that's that thing out pretty good.
Yeah, this came from a museum in Texas.
Okay.
It was, I think it was Hurricane Ike flooded the museum.
Oh wow.
And so they sent it to us and asked us if we could fix it because it was all rusty. It wouldn't turn anymore. So we took it apart, cleaned it up, painted everything, put it all back together, and then I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on camera, but they didn't want to pay for it, so we got to keep it.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah, if they're not gonna pay for it, I mean, take it as payment.
Mechanics lien, isn't that what they say?
Yeah, right. A little lean sell on it.
Yeah.
No, that's very cool.
Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes for your jet to come in.
got the counterweights on this side to balance it out.
Yeah. The counterweights counteract all the piston, the pins, and everything, all the weight.
Right.
Because this would have like 9 cylinders on each row.
Okay.
So it's 18 cylinder.
Right. And just to finish off the video, can I get your name and the company? No, absolutely.
I'm Dave, and I work for Anderson Aeromotive out of Grangeville, Idaho.
If someone wanted to find out more about your company, where can they go? You have a website?
We have a website, yeah, just Anderson Aeromotive.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
All right,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right,